Hi, everyone. Thank you so much and welcome back. Always lovely and refreshing to connect with you. It's really, truly one of the joys of my life to bring you these inspiring and powerful messages for the long haul. This is part two of the series, What the Heck is Going On? Dark Influences. What the heck is going on? How to take back your life. I want everyone, brace yourself, get in the saddle of your life and hold it. Hold it. It is a precious and dear, dear, dear treasure. You know, off the top, and you've heard me say this in many other videos. This is one thing that if you really let this seep into your soul, set it to memory, you will find that you can automatically and powerfully redirect your steps. So the first thing is, God is not the author of confusion. God does not author confusion. He'll help you clean it up, rearrange it, hit the refresh button, but he doesn't author it. He's not the creator of it. Dark influences. Dark influences publish confusion, specialize in authoring confusion, distributing confusion from start to finish. A web of lies, a substantial web of lies is what is produced in the factory of dark influences. And I want to talk to you about how people fall into the dark web of lies. And folks, as much as I would love to report today that everyone makes it out of those web of lies, everyone does not make it out of the web of lies. Don't let it happen to you, people. Do not let it happen to you. I want to share a story with you that perfectly illustrates. I feel like I need to share a story because somehow this topic in discussion, which isn't, it's not discussed enough because many people are either fearful of it, don't know what to say about it, don't want to deal with it, but it needs to get dealt with. And I'm dealing with it on my channel because the heart and soul of my work, the channel is called The Lift. I'm dedicated to lifting others up in every possible conceivable way. This YouTube channel is simply one vehicle. Believe me, I'm driving many vehicles for upliftment. Let me share a story with you. Some years ago, I was sitting with a man who had just been released from prison, hard time. He was in there over 20 years. Now, here's the catch. He was wrongfully imprisoned. He was wrongfully imprisoned and really coerced into a guilty plea, and it just wore him down. And there he sat. And so, of course, I didn't want to make the situation harder or more painful, but I certainly had to ask, here you are on the other side with 20 years of your life. It's gone. It's gone. In that moment, when you said, yes, I'm guilty, and you sign the confession and it was a done deal, really what was going through your head and what the man said sent chills down my spine. And I immediately related it to this whole piece of dark influences and what they're capable of and how they operate. And he said to me, Sheila, by the time those people were done working me over, it had gone into over a week. By the time they were done working me over, for a split second, momentarily, I really believed that I was guilty and I wanted the onslaught to stop. It was a torture that I can't describe. I was tired. I was hungry. When one finished with me, the other one came into the room and they badgered me with the same questions. They painted a picture. You did it, didn't you? You know you were the one that did it. You caused it and then you ran away, didn't you? Look at this picture. You hurt this woman. And it was on and on and on endlessly. endlessly for days on end. And finally, I just said, you got me. You got me. Really, I was tired. I was hungry. I wanted to go to sleep. And that's it. And one day led to 1 month, led to a year, led to 20 years. And folks, it's the perfect carbon copy. That is how dark influences work. They whisper falsities and lies as an onslaught. It's an onslaught. And people literally buckle and get tired and say, okay, literally, to hell with it. To hell with it all, literally. And then go sliding down the abyss. So one of the things that I want you to understand as you engage the practice of loving your life, embracing your life, and lifting up your life, what you have to understand, and I really in such a deep way, I ask you to watch this video again and again and again until you really get this part, that dark influences necessarily whisper the lies repetitively. There is no commercial break. There is no time out for one goal. There's one end game. And once this happens, you are so deep into the web that it can be a real uphill battle to get out. They want you to come into agreement. They want you to come into agreement with the lie. And how does it look? How would it look when you come into agreement with the lies, many times diabolical lies that are whispered? It's not a contract or a document you sign. It's very internal. It's an intimate agreement done so passively oftentimes that you can't even discern the line of demarcation. We give you an example of what it feels like and what it can look like to come into agreement. Some years ago, I was sitting with a 15-year-old girl, absolutely beautiful, yet her body was emaciated. She was an anorexic, but just a stunningly beautiful girl. And she said to me, I am hideous. I am hideous to myself. When I look at myself, I'm hideous. You have her mother here is breaking down, her father is breaking down. We can't tell her. We cannot tell her how beautiful she is. We can't, we say it 20 million times. We put the mirror up. We do everything, and had spent hundreds of thousands of dollars in group programs, rehabilitation, this, that, and the third. And I told them something, and it was kind of like, that's too simplistic. You know, she believes this is her reality. She believes this. When she looks at herself, she sees something hideous. I asked the girl, I said, how long have you felt this way, and how did it start? She said, it started, it felt like I looked in the mirror one day and just something was like, oh my God, how gross, how gross. And I just kept hearing how gross, how gross, how gross. And then it morphed into even crazier messages, and don't eat and don't eat. And it just spiraled off. It spiraled off a cliff. And here I am now. This girl, this young girl, did, I promise you, out of the hundreds of thousands of dollars that were spent, this young girl did not get any relief. I told them to start on affirmations with her, get her into a group, even if she is resistant. Even if she is resistant, get her into a group around other um, young people, young people who are feeling good about themselves, who are centered, God-centered. I want you to just start working with her into the Word, stay with her therapies, do all of that stuff. What you're dealing with here, she's caught. I knew what was happening spiritually. This girl was caught into a web of lies. And I'm telling you, I pushed them into the direction lovingly into the direction. They were God-centered people, so I didn't have to try too hard. I pushed them in that direction because I know I've been on the planet long enough to know there are some situations you get in, you can do all the clinical medications, everything that you want. And I say that as a believer in Western medicine, doctors. My orientation is that of a therapist, so I understand. I believe in all of that. That said, there are places you're not going to get the healing and the lift without the hand of God coming in there. And I knew that this was such a case, because when you're in that web of lies, every single thing is distorted. I believed everything out of her mouth. When she looked in the mirror, she no longer saw what everyone else saw. She no longer saw that. She had crossed over a long time ago. Again, folks, keep your eye on the ball of life. Okay, I'm not trying to scare anyone, but keep your eye on the ball of life. You have to constantly be in a state of affirmation and knowing who you are, knowing what you are about, knowing what you stand for, so that when the lies present themselves, you can kind of laugh and say, "The hell is that? I don't know what you're talking about." So you can literally in real time rebuke it and keep going. Many people get derailed and they'll tell me, "Sheila, I don't even know where that energy came from, where the thought came from." Your eye is not on the ball. Your eye is not on the ball. And this is work that you can do joyfully, beautifully, have some humor about it, have fun with it. But I'm telling you, if you're not constantly aware and ever vigilant about what you're letting through your vessel, you're vulnerable. Sat with a mom, a single mom, four children. She had two jobs, but was just doing a beautiful job as a mom, juggling everything. Her children were happy, and over time, she started entertaining the lie. "You're a horrible mom. Where's the father for these kids? You got two jobs. You're barely home." And by the time she was got to me, she had just been so beat down into this lie that her children, the grades fell, her household fell, the whole 9 yards. She had left one of her jobs. Life was in shambles. And I said, when did it start? Should I just started feeling absolutely inadequate as a mom and as a mother. And this depressed mode came over me. I started sleeping more. I lost one of the jobs, and I kept entertaining it. Folks, it can start just that simply. You gotta be aware of what's coming through your filter in all aspects. And it doesn't matter the source of where this is coming from. What matters is you have something put in place. I talk to you all the time about the life resiliency plan. You have a plan put in place to keep yourself level, and to keep yourself grounded, and to keep yourself centered in love, decency, and kindness. I want to share a couple things. It's very important to know about dark influences and how they operate. The other thing that they are necessarily, it's kryptonite to them. This is the kryptonite, is you knowing and understanding from your soul that crap doesn't come from me. As long as you come into agreement and say, "You know what? Yeah, I do look hideous. I am a bad person." As long as you're entertaining that, you make that of you. You come into agreement with that. And the kryptonite is when you are truly, objectively, from a very calm, centered place, that is not of me. How do I know that? And a lot of what I'm sharing, yes, it's in the spiritual realm, but it's common sense. It's really common sense, folks. This is how you know the difference. Because anyone in their right mind or in their wrong mind or somewhere in between, you are not going to willfully and willingly abuse yourself. You're not going to willfully and willingly put thoughts of degradation into your heart and spirit. It just simply does not happen. So it's like cannibalizing yourself. So my point is, when you start to really deeply understand and know this is not of me, this is not of me, you walk away from that energy clean, clean. And I can hear someone saying, but Sheila, it's easier said than done. I still feel like there's an onslaught. And what I would say to you is, if it's a war, then it's a war of attrition. It's a war of attrition. And what do I mean by that? It is the side that sustains and holds on the longest, is consistent, is going to win. It really is just that simple. Your best friend where keeping yourself insulated against dark influences is your consistency. It's your consistency and your decision not to fight and battle dark influences. You can walk away from that, but your decision to say, that's not my battle. My job is to keep my life lifted. My job is to center myself every day and ground myself in goodness, reality, kindness, creating a sense of stability for myself. And see, the battle and the war is won. Because if it's a war of attrition, who's more consistent? Who hangs on? Get out of that energy of, I need to fight this and I need to claw through this, and get into the energy of, my responsibility is to keep my life lifted. My responsibility is to have a beautiful life resiliency plan in place that I work and I lift up every day. Couple ideas for you. I'd love you to have, and you can use it as a prayer. I have a life constitution. It's not long, it's a couple paragraphs. And I say that every day. That serves as a prayer, an affirmation, a declaration. I know who I am out here. I know what I'm doing out here. I know what my purpose is out here. Therefore, I don't have time for nonsense. That's just the attitude I have. Talk to the hand. I don't have time for that nonsense. I'm a woman on a mission. I live a delicious, wonderful, lifted life. That's where the energy is, not clawing and scraping and fighting. That's over here. The attrition, that's over here. I'm over here lifting up my life. It's a very different vibration, folks. I encourage you again, listen to the video over and over again. Do what you need to do. Put that resiliency plan in place. As I said in a video earlier this week, you will find all the motivation, all the inspiration, all the hope and glory you need in doing. Put things in place that are relevant, that keep you grounded, that keep you focused, that keep you living in love and living on purpose. So I'm going to do yet another follow-up, a part 3, because I have a couple more things I want to say, but I kind of want to do it in reasonable pieces that you can digest. So thanks so much. I'll catch up with you soon.